Welcome to a possible new series on the channel where I cover a monotype best team for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Today, we have one of the two worst types in Pokemon being the bug type. Even though we are covering bugs today, the bugs that have been selected for this team of 6 are definitely the best the Paldea and Kitakami have to offer. And yeah, this team will include mons from the Teal Mask DLC only because Indigo Disc is post-game. There's one bug I wish I could have included, but its evolution is so far out, I just didn't want to give you guys the hassle of grinding it up. However, I did briefly mention it though if you guys still do want to take a crack at it regardless. With that, you may have a general idea of who some of these bugs are going to be, considering this is a best team. But enough talk, let's just get started. Like always in your traditional Pokemon games, there are always going to be those early game bugs. In the case of Scarlet and Violet, I would say this one is among the best of this archetype, being Lokix. Nimble can be found right in the very beginning of Scarlet and Violet, so right when you get Pokeballs, you're able to capture it. Nimble evolves into Lokix at level 24, and from there, this dark bug is going to be an essential piece to this mono bug team. With the help of its excellent physical attack, alongside its decent speed of 92, I have no doubt it'll be a great asset to this team, especially when taking on leaders such as Rhyme and Tulip. We needed a dark or ghost type, and I knew right from the get-go, Lokix would be the best one for the job. For Lokix's early on moveset, it'll have access to Assurance at level 9 and Bug Bite at level 22. These two moves are great early stab options. For its final stab option, it gets Throat Chop at level 36 and Leech Life via TM. I will leave you guys a video down below as to where to find all the TMs. And who knows, you might even just find one of these randomly on the ground. Kitakami has a lot of them, trust me. Coverage-wise, Low Sweep can also be found as a TM alongside Aerial Ace too. If you want something more powerful, Axe Kick can be learned at level 53. Our next member is going to be located at Kitakami, and that mon is Grubbin. Grubbin evolves into Charge Bug at level 20, then into Vikavolt with a Thunderstone. When making a monotype team of a specific type, especially for a typing such as Bug, I wanted to include as much power as I could, and Vikavolt was definitely a choice I felt I could not sleep on. Even though Vikavolt is slow, its electric typing is going to help so much across the journey that I couldn't say no to how useful it would be. With also having monotypes, we are limited to the options we can choose. 145 special attack is ginormous, and with a stab Thunderbolt, that's gonna eviscerate enemies. I wish it were faster, but alas. At least you can also get it relatively quick too. For Vikavolt's moveset, it's gonna be a TM fest, and with using Grubbin at the start, you will have to use some physical attacks for a while. Once a Vikavolt though, you can start taking advantage of that incredible special attack. Like I mentioned earlier, we got Thunderbolt, followed by Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and either Flash Cannon or Thunder Wave. Bug Buzz can either be taught as a TM, or it can be learned at level 36. If you have the Struggle Bug TM, you can use that for the time being. T-Bolt, Energy Ball, and Flash Cannon / Thunder Wave can all be found as TMs. Flash Cannon is available if you want the extra coverage. But with the mon we will be covering soon, I almost deem it unnecessary. So I would use Thunder Wave to cripple opponents. Our next mon is a veteran from one of the past Scarlet and Violet best teams, being Ribombee. Cutiefly can be found at Kitakami, and then evolves into Ribombee at level 25. With its secondary typing of Fairy, this type fills a lot of holes. With its stats too, it hits good enough and outspeeds pretty much anything. Bottom line, its typing, stats, and move pool will do wonders for this team. Speaking of movesets, let's hop into that. With movesets for Ribombee, its stab options are pretty clear-cut. Its early Fairy stab is going to be Fairy Wind, which should be on Cutiefly when you catch it. Then Struggle Bug for your Bug stab can be found as a TM. Its final moveset consists of Dazzling Gleam / Moonblast, Pollen Puff, Calm Mind, and Energy Ball / Psychic. Dazzling Gleam can be found as a TM, and Moonblast can be egg moved on using a Mirror Herb. Pollen Puff can be learned upon evolution, Calm Mind can be found as a TM, and Energy Ball and Psychic can be found as TMs as well. It really depends on what you want for coverage with the last two moves mentioned. Also, some of you might be asking, why not Quiver Dance? Level 54 is a very long way off, so I would use Calm Mind in the meantime until you have access to Quiver Dance. At the second half of the team is a well-known bug type that has had quite the reputation over the years, and in my opinion, is one of the most badass designed bugs of all time, Scizor. And yeah, I know it's a trait evolution, but it's 2024. Surely you can find some way of getting Scizor. A metal coat can be bought from Delibird Presents and Levincia. Also, how can you make a mono bug team without Scizor? Let's say hypothetically you still can't get Scizor. Scyther is still a beast, especially when you account for Technician, which, in case you didn't know, it boosts the power of moves of 60 base power or less, so moves like Wing Attack will work wonders. I see Scizor as the MVP of this team though for sure. Its typing of Bug Steel gives this team a solid defensive piece, aside from the fire weakness. But when making a mono-type team, especially when you have limited options, obviously it's gonna be more difficult to account for that major weakness. I will try to cover that weakness as best as I can though as we move on with the team. Until then, let's cover Scizor's moveset. With Scizor's moveset, I can talk about just how much of a powerhouse this mon can be. For stab options, we got X-Scissor and Bullet Punch. Like I mentioned above as well, you're gonna want to use Technician for its ability. Bullet Punch is 40 base power and priority, so this is gonna be great alongside Technician. Then, there's X-Scissor for stab, which can be learned at level 40, or it can be taught as a TM. Then, for coverage, we have Brick Break, which can also be learned as a TM. And lastly, we got Swords Dance for setup. This next one, I like to call the Whitney Slayer, Heracross. As I'm writing this script, Heracross is in the PU tier, and I gotta say, that sucks. Because I remember a time when this thing was at least a UU Titan. Regardless, in-game, it's one of the best bug types Scarlet and Violet has to offer with the aid of its fighting type. So that's gonna help a lot. 85 base speed is good enough to outspeed most in-game mods. Heracross can be found at Casaroya Lake at around level 45-ish, so it is a little higher leveled. But it is most definitely one of the team's top contenders for sure. For abilities, I would definitely consider getting one with Guts. Having that extra power with status could be handy when you least expect it. Heracross's moveset is going to have a few different options for it, and that is mainly due to its access to multi-hitting moves. For stab options, we got Arm Thrust and Pin Missile, and using those with a loaded dice could yield pretty solid results. If that's not what you're looking for, however, you have other stab options such as Brick Break and Mega Horn, though Mega Horn can't be learned until level 55. So if that is your plan, I would stick with using a loaded dice and Pin Missile until then. Coverage-wise, we finally have something for that fire weakness being Rock Slide. It sucks though, because it does have a chance to miss, but with this, you will have something to at least counter it. I believe you can capture Heracross before Mela, and if you can, then her battle should be much easier due to the level difference. If not, I have one more option that could potentially do the job. Regardless, Heracross will still be extremely useful for the Paldean experience. And the last mon of this mono bug team is unfortunately not a dual bug water, and I wish that Scarlet and Violet had Araquanid. Pre-post game. Yeah, you can only get it in the Indigo Disc, which you need to beat the main story of Paldea and complete Area 0 if I'm not mistaken. So I decided on a mon that was a fast-hitting special attacker, being Yanmega. Yanma can be found in Kitakami and evolves into Yanmega after learning the move Ancient Power, which it gets at level 33. For abilities, make sure to capture a Yanma with Compound Eyes, that way it gets Tinted Lens after it evolves. Speed Boost is great, but I think Tinted Lens will come in clutch at some point. Still, 95 base speed is more than enough for an in-game run, so that's another reason I feel Speed Boost isn't needed as much. For Yanmega's moves, we got Air Slash and Bug Buzz for stab, followed by Giga Drain and Ancient Power for coverage. Air Slash and Bug Buzz can both be learned upon evolution. Giga Drain can be taught as a TM, and then Ancient Power is learned at level 33. Let me just say, Ancient Power is probably going to be your best bet against Mela, especially if you don't have Heracross captured yet. Good luck against Mela. In my opinion, she could be the most difficult challenge this mono bug team faces. Before I end off this video, I know there is a huge elephant in the room I need to address. Where's Volcarona? A lot of you must be asking. Volcarona just takes too long to evolve, dude. And even if you have the mental fortitude to use it, the amount of struggle you have to go through to use Larvesta is a pain. Base 60's speed is yikes, and if you thought you could capture Volcarona itself, good luck. It's not until the Great Crater of Paldea, which is post-game. You can get it via Pokemon Home if you'd like to use it for the Elite Four, and if you do, awesome and more power to you. Volcarona should be on this team. It just sucks that the circumstances to use and get it are completely terrible. Well, that wraps up this best team of bugs. I did my best to compile a team of the most formidable bug types the Scarlet and Violet Dex has to offer. And with that, I wish you luck if you choose to do this mono bug run. I will possibly see you very soon for more Scarlet and Violet mono best teams.